Welcome to lecture series on optical fiber communications. In this video, we will see the basic optical fiber structure and we will see the refractive index definition and we will see what is the difference between the denser medium and the rarer medium. We will see how the light will propagate when it travels from denser medium to rarer medium, and also we will see how it travels when it travels from rarer medium to denser medium, and we will see the refraction in detail, and also in this case we will see what is Snell's law, critical angle, and also we will see the total internal reflection, and then we will see the acceptance cone, and then we will see the numerical aperture derivation. So coming to the basic optical fiber structure, so the basic optical fiber structure consists of core as a center element. This core In this core only the light will travels from one end to another end. Now the core is surrounded by the cladding, which acts as a supporting material for the core or the protection material for the core. Here the core is manufactured with high refractive index than cladding. Remember this point. We will see the reason in the coming slides. The core refractive index is higher than the cladding refractive index. So we will see the reason for that one, and also we'll see what is the refractive index in the coming slide. See, refractive index is nothing but the ratio of the velocity of light in vacuum to the velocity of light in the medium. See, the velocity of light in the vacuum is fixed, that is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So the refractive index formula is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second divided by velocity of light in that medium. Suppose I am talking about refractive index of glass. Suppose I want to talk about the refractive index of air. What is the meaning is, it is equal to ratio of velocity of light in vacuum, that is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second divided by velocity of light in air, velocity of light in glass. That is the meaning here. See, observe here the formula. The refractive index is inversely proportional to the velocity of light in that medium. Suppose I want to say that uh, the refractive index is high, means the velocity of light is less there. If the refractive index is less, means the velocity of light is high. So that is, if the velocity of light in the medium is high, then it is having less refractive index. If the velocity of light in the medium is less, then it is having high refractive index. Now, based upon this point, we'll see what is the denser medium. The speed of light is less in that medium, then we can say that medium is called denser medium. So speed of light is less in that medium indicates that it is having high refractive index, right? So that is high refractive index. If the medium is having high refractive index, then you can say that one as a denser medium. Or the speed of light is less in that medium, then you can say that it is called a denser medium. And coming to the rarer medium, the speed of light is high in that medium, that is, it is having low refractive index. Low refractive index is rarer medium, high refractive index is denser medium. Examples for denser medium are glass and diamond. For glass it is around 1.35, for diamond it is around 2 point something, right? For rarer medium, example is air. For air it is 1, refractive index is 1. See, what is the meaning of refractive index is 1 for air? It is why it is called rarer medium, means the speed of light in the air is if n is equal to 1, means the speed of light in air, that is equal to speed of light in vacuum. So same velocity, with same velocity it is traveling in air, so air is called rarer medium. When you coming to the glass, it is 1.35 the value, so that is the speed of light in glass is equal to speed of light in vacuum, that is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second divided by 1.35, that is less than the speed of light in vacuum. So that's why you're calling the glass as a denser medium and air as a rarer medium. So with these 2 points we can see how the light will propagate from denser medium to rarer medium, and how it travels from rarer medium to denser medium. For that one, when light travels from denser medium to rarer medium, the refraction ray bends away from the normal. So we'll see what is the meaning of normal here. So let us consider I am taking one small material here which is made up of glass, right? Glass means it is a denser medium, right? It is a denser medium. And next I am taking one material boundary. This black line is a material boundary which separates the glass, and the above this material boundary, let us consider it is air, right? So it is the material boundary which separates the glass, which is a denser medium, and air is a rarer medium. above the boundary, material boundary. Now what I am doing is I am transmitting, or I am taking one incident ray. Okay, before that one I am taking one normal line. What is the meaning of normal line here is it is the perpendicular line drawn to the material boundary. This is called normal line. Now I am incidenting some light ray inside the denser medium called glass. So in this glass I am incidenting some ray. Now this ray is traveling inside the denser medium and it is hitting the material boundary. After hitting this material boundary, some part of the energy is going to be reflected into the same medium, and some part of the energy is going to be refracted into the air outside of the medium. So that is, this is called refracted ray. Why? Because some part of the energy is going out of the another medium. This is bending of the light ray out of the other medium. This is air. Now observe here, the distance between the normal line and the refracted ray is large here. Why? Because it is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. Right. Now again I am taking here, when light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, the refraction ray bends towards the normal. See, observe here, I am taking the glass here, which is a denser medium, and I am taking the material boundary which separates the air. So air is here and here it is glass. Now I am taking the normal line here. Now I am inserting the light ray in the air. Now in the air I am inserting the light ray. Some part of the energy is reflected back into the air, and some part of the energy is going to be into the another medium called refracted ray. Now observe here, the distance between this normal line and the refracted ray is less here, whereas compared to here, the distance between the normal line and the refracted ray is high. So that is, when the light ray is traveling from denser medium to rarer medium, the refracted ray is moves away from the normal. When the light ray travels from rarer medium to denser medium, then the light ray or refracted ray bends towards the normal. That is important point. But in optical fiber structure, which is the thing we are using, the core is having high refractive index we are taking. So that is this case we are taking. The core is having high refractive index and the cladding is having less refractive index. That is, the surface which covers the core is the cladding. The cladding we are taking as less refractive index. Why? What is the reason for that? Means, see, observe this case. See, when light ray is hitting the boundary, some part of the energy is going to reflect into the boundary and some part is going to be refraction. See, what is the meaning? So it is core, let us consider it is cladding. So that is, some part of the energy is going into the cladding. That we should not require. Why? Because the total energy should be transferred into the core only. Again it is hitting here and again it transfers to the core. So that is, inside the core only all the energy should be present. There is no refraction should be there. So that's why what we have to do, if you take like this, denser medium here, rarer medium here, then it moves towards the normal. See, towards the normal means the refraction ray is always possible. If we are taking denser medium here and the rarer medium here, then if you increase this angle such that, so the refraction ray moves away from the normal still, then we can easily neglect this, easily deleted this refracted ray, as the total energy is going to be reflected into the glass. So that thing we will see now. So that's why, with this reason, the core is surrounded by the core we are taking as a high refractive index or denser medium, and the cladding we are taking as a rarer medium or less refractive index material. So now we will see what is reflection and refraction. So observe here, to understand this one, I am taking two materials. One is having N1 refractive index and another one is having N2 refractive index, and I am taking such that the N2 refractive index is less than N1. That is, N1 is the denser medium and N2 is the rarer medium I am taking. Let us consider I am drawing a material boundary which separates this N1 and N2. So let us consider this is glass and this is above, this one is air. Let us consider. Now I am taking one normal line here, that is perpendicular line to the material boundary, and this is called the normal line to the boundary I have drawn here. Now from in the N1 medium I am incidenting one light ray, I am incidenting here with an angle. See, the angle, with an angle phi 1, I am incidenting one light ray at the material boundary. This is called incident ray. See, what is this phi 1 angle? It is not but incidence angle. What is this one? Phi 1 incidence angle or angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is nothing but the angle between the incident ray and the normal line. So that is, I have incidented one light ray which is making angle phi 1 with the normal line in the glass, in the denser medium. Now what will happen? Some part of the energy is going to be refracted, that is transmitting into another medium. As it is n2 is less than n1, it is a rarer medium, that's why the refracted ray is moves away from the normal, the distance is very high. Let us consider the angle here is phi 2. Let us consider the angle is phi 2. So that is, what is phi 2 here? Phi 2 is nothing but angle of refraction. So phi 1 is the angle of incidence. This is the angle between the normal line and the incident ray. And phi 2 is the angle of refraction, that is the angle between the refracted ray and the normal line. Right. So now some part of the energy is refracted here and some part of the energy is going to be reflected into the same medium with the same angle. If it is phi 1, then it is also phi 1. That is the important point you have to remember. This is law of reflection. Now the main point here is, what is phi 1 and phi 2? Phi 1 is the angle between the incident ray and the normal line. Then some part of the energy is going to be reflected into the same medium and some part of the energy is going to be refracted into the another medium, and the angle between the refracted ray and the normal line is phi 2. Let us consider. Then we can write the Snell's law. Snell's law states that n1 sin phi 1 is equal to n2 sin phi 2. So that is, what is phi 1 here? It is n1. n2 is the another boundary, another material. So n1 sin phi 1. Phi 1 is nothing but the angle between the normal line and the incident ray, and phi 2 is the angle between the normal ray and the refracted ray. So n1 sin phi 1 is equal to n2 sin phi 2 is the relation. This is from Snell's law. So important relation, remember this relation. Here I am using two angles, phi 1 and phi 2. These angles are with respect to normal line only we are talking. That is, phi 1 is the angle between the normal line and the incident ray, and phi 2 is the angle between the normal line and the refracted ray. So remember these two things. We will do the derivation later. So this is about reflection and refraction. Now, so what I am doing is, so I want to remove this refracted ray so that the total energy is going to be into the total energy is going to be reflected into the same medium, such that you can travel this one into the fiber without loss of the energy into the cladding. So for that one, what I am doing here is, you see, if I increase this angle phi 1, there is a possibility to increase this angle phi 2 such that this is moving away from the normal and moving towards this. So that is, we'll see the second diagram here. So if I am incidenting with increased angle incident rays, then the refracted ray may move still away from the normal, such that if you still increase this angle, then there is a possibility to move this total refracted ray into parallel to the material boundary, and also there may be chance to get the total energy is going to reflect into the same medium. So by taking this principle here, so I am explaining this one. So I am taking this one. So phi 1 is equal to phi c. I am inserting this angle with an angle phi 1 which is called phi c. This phi c is nothing but the critical angle here. When we are inserting this phi 1 with phi 1 angle, some part of the energy is going to be reflected and some part of the energy is going to be refracted. Now observe here, with when theta 1 is equal to phi c, that is critical angle, when the angle of incidence is equal to the critical angle, then the refracted ray is making 90 degrees with the normal line. Then we can say that this is the critical angle. What is phi c? Phi c is nothing but the, our critical angle is nothing but the, what is the critical angle? Critical angle is nothing but the angle of incidence phi 1 at which the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. 90 degrees are pi by 2. So this is the base critical angle. So here no energy is lost into the another medium here. If you still increase this angle beyond phi c, that is phi 1 greater than phi c, what will happen then? The refracted ray is no more and all the energy is going to reflect into the medium. Why? Because if you increase this one, it still move away from the normal, this ray, right? So there is, the refracted ray disappears and the total energy is going to be reflected into the same medium. So and hence that light ray travels into the same medium and no loss of the energy is present here. So that is, if you increase phi 1 greater than phi c, that is phi 1 greater than critical angle. So what is the critical angle here? Critical angle is nothing but the incidence angle at which the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. That is the point. If you increase this phi 1 greater than phi c, greater than critical angle, then what will happen is this ray will move into the n1 medium such that total energy is going to reflect into the same medium. So that is, we will see here. Now I am inserting with phi 1 greater than phi c. Phi 1 greater than phi c. What will happen here? The total energy is going to reflected ray. There is no refracted ray here. So that is the point. This is the thing we want here. Why? Because there is no loss in the clouding. The total signal is inside the core only, and it is transmitting from one end to another end. Total energy is going to reflect inside the core. So this case we require to transmit the information from one end to another end. So that's why the incidence angle phi 1 should be very much greater than the greater than the critical angle. Then the total energy is going to reflect into the same medium, and then we can say the total internal reflection. The total ray is going to be reflected into the same medium only. The condition for this one is phi 1 greater than phi c. Now let us consider here n2 at the bottom of the n1. Here I am taking the material boundary here. So that is nothing but, so this total thing n1 is nothing but core. The core is surrounded by the clouding n2 here on both sides here. Like that I am considering here. Now whenever light is incident here, right, with an angle greater than phi c, then there is no refraction ray. Total ray is going to be reflected into the same medium n1, and whenever it is hitting this material boundary, same thing happens. No energy is going to be moved into the n2. No refraction is there. Again, the signal is going to be reflected into the same medium. So like this, it travels from one end to another end. This phenomenon is called the total internal reflection. So now, coming to the critical angle definition. Critical angle is the angle of incidence at which the angle of refraction is 90 degrees. If we are incidenting with greater than the critical angle, what will happen? The ray is going to be totally internally reflected. There is no refracted ray is there. So that is, we'll see from Snell's law, n1 sin phi 1 is equal to n2 sin phi 2. Now critical angle is nothing but the angle of incidence. That is phi 1 plus I am substituting phi c. If phi 1 is phi c, then the angle of refraction phi 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So that's why I am substituting phi 1 is equal to phi c and phi 2 is equal to 90 degrees. Now since sin 90 is equal to 1, I am substituting sin 90 is equal to 1 here. Then I can get sin phi c is equal to n2 by n1. So here phi c is nothing but the critical angle. So that is if you want to incident this with that much critical angle, then what materials you have to take? That can be obtained by using this simple formula. So if I know the n2 and n1 materials refractiveness, then I can know that with what angle I have to incident such that the total ray should be traveling inside the same medium by using this formula. Phi c is equal to sin inverse of n2 by n1. This phi c is nothing but the critical angle. Remember this formula, sin phi c is equal to n2 by n1. Why? Because this is going to be used in the derivation of numerical aperture. So that is, if the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, then what will happen? Then total light is reflected back into the same medium and called total internal reflection is happened. So this should happen. So that is, you have to incident with phi, an incidence angle greater than phi c, critical angle, such that the total ray is going to be incident into the same medium, and hence no loss in the energy, right? Now we see the acceptance cone. So inside the fiber. So now what I am doing here is I am taking one core material, right, with the refractive index n1. Let us consider this core is surrounded by the clouding, which is having refractive index n2, and we know very well that from discussion, the core refractive index n1 is greater than n2, right? So, and I am drawing here one center line or core axis here. It is the core axis here. I have drawn here core axis. Now observe here, whenever I am, so here it is core, it is cladding, and outside this core and cladding, here it is nothing but air here. Let us consider here. So let us consider this refractive index is air is n, which is less than n1 I have taken here. So this total thing is air. Now what I am doing is from the air I am transmitting one ray, light ray. This is called incident ray, incidenting on the air fiber boundary. Now what will happen? Some energy is going to be reflected here, and some energy is going to be refracted. So this is the refraction. Again, this refracted signal is going to be incidenting in the metal boundary, core cladding boundary, and again it is going to be refracted here. So that is it is not traveling inside the core. Total internal reflection is not happening here, right? So it is going out of the core into cladding. This is called refraction rate. You have to avoid this one. So that one, what I am doing, I am increasing this. I am increasing this one to this. Now what will happen if I increase this one with this angle? Then that is, let's consider the angle between the core axis and the incident angle is theta I. Let us consider that is the acceptance angle. Let us consider. Then the light ray is going to hitting into the material boundary between cladding and core. After hitting, it is not going refraction, and it is, let's say this is a metal boundary hitting this one, and some part of that is going to be reflected, right, reflected here, right, and some part of that is going to be refracted. So refracted is coincide with the metal boundary means here it is called critical angle. Let us consider. Why? Because if the angle of incidence is critical angle, if the refracted rays coincide with the metal boundary, right? So now if this is phi c is a critical angle, so let's consider this is theta a. Theta is the maximum entrance angle. See, if you increase this angle, then we cannot then the refraction ray is not parallel, it may be some refraction here. So this is the maximum angle such that maximum entrance angle such that the refraction ray is coincides with the cladding boundary, and we can say this one as this angle of incidence is nothing but critical angle now phi c. So let us consider here I am writing one angle here, some theta c. This is the angle between theta c, that is it is some theta c value at which the angle of incidence is critical angle, right? Now, right, see, now it is a right angle triangle here, so the angle here is 90 degrees here. If it is 90 degrees, then theta c plus phi c is equal to 90 degrees. Remember that point, theta c plus phi c is equal to 90 degrees here. Now observe here, if the angle of incidence is if the angle theta a is, this is the maximum theta a. If you increase this one theta a, then refraction is possible, and hence some energy is lost. If theta is if angle is this incidence angle is less than theta a, then only it should be going to be reflected into the same medium. There is no refraction. So this theta is nothing but the maximum entrance angle. Now here, so the same theta I am writing here, this is nothing but acceptance cone. Why? Because if the light ray enters inside this angle, inside this 2 theta a, then the light will travels without refraction, without I mean without going into the cladding, right? Why? Because the maximum angle is this one, it is coincide with the cladding, core cladding interface. So this is called acceptance cone. So that is, you have to transmit in this the light ray in this angle only, then only no refraction is possible, all the light should be going to be reflected, right? Now n sin theta a is equal to n1 sin theta c. I am writing here. So observe here, what is n here? N is the refractive index of here, and n1 is the refractive index of core. So what is the meaning here? See, observe here, this is the normal line. Now this is the normal line between air and core. This is the material boundary. Now this is the material boundary. See, this is the normal line. So with respect to normal line, I'm writing for normal line theta a is one angle, for the normal line theta c is one angle. Then you can write the Snell's law, n sin theta a is equal to n1 sin theta c. So now we can write this one, n sin theta a is equal to n1 sin theta c. You know theta c is equal to, see, it is theta c. If it is phi c, then this angle is 90 degrees. So for an triangle, the total angle is 180 degrees. If it is 90 degrees, then the phi c plus theta c should be 90 degrees. So if theta c is equal to theta c plus phi c is equal to 90 degrees, then theta c is equal to pi by 2 minus phi c. You can write here. Sin pi by 2 minus theta is equal to cos phi c. So that is n sin theta a is equal to n1 cos phi c is the formula you have to remember. So now we'll see the derivation here. What is n sin theta a? N sin theta a is nothing but the numerical aperture formula. Numerical aperture is equal to n sin theta a. Numerical aperture indicates that, so it indicates the light collecting capacity of the fiber. So that is n sin theta a is the numerical aperture formula. So we'll see numerical aperture is nothing but light collecting capacity of the optical fiber. So it is numerical aperture is equal to n sin theta a, that is equal to n1 sin phi c we got. But what is phi c? We have already calculated in the critical angle. Phi c is the critical angle, phi a is the maximum entrance angle. Already we have seen what is sin phi c. What is sin phi c? N1 sin theta is equal to N1 sin theta c, N1 sin pi by 2 minus phi c, that is N1 cos phi c, right? Now you know this one, sin square plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So that's why here I am writing cos theta is equal to root of 1 minus sin square theta. But you know sin phi c is equal to N2 by N1. So I am substituting N2 by N1 in this sin phi c place. So I'll get N2 by N1 whole square. Now you can take the LCM here, n1 square minus n2 square by n1 square. N1 and n1 out of the root cancel and we'll get the root of n1 square minus n2 square is the formula for numerical aperture. That is, the light collecting capacity depends upon the n1 refractive index and the n2 refractive index. That is the refractive index of core and the refractive index of the clouding. So this is the formula for the numerical aperture. Thank you.